Hey boys and girls of YouTube world, today the Duff Dog and I are going to see if we can't get this 1975 Chevrolet Squarebody running for the first time in 9 years. So the story on this one was, we got our scrap buddy down in the Aberdeen area. He picked this thing up, I'm guessing Spink County, South Dakota, the meth state.
I'm on meth.
And he does scrapping. Scrap is low. He messaged me, he said, hey, I got this thing. He says, $400, I'll drop it off in your yard. And I said, bring her on over, Johnny boy. So that's what I paid for it. And I figured if we get a small block, should have a turbo 400 since it's 3/4 ton. There should be plenty of pieces here. We're always messing around with square bodies. I love square bodies. They're great donors. They seem like they do well on the channel. They're easy to work on. So let's rip into this thing. It's got the aftermarket tube grill. Oh, the rally is still going on. Hell's Angels are moving through. It's got the aftermarket custom tube grill. It's missing all its teeth because meth things. Last tagged in 2015, so 9 years, 57, that's Spink County because they're alphabetical after the 10th digit in South Dakota. 1 through 10 is the biggest cities, and then 11 on down is the alphabetical order. So the more you know. Sealed the deal was these racing stripes on here. Like I said, 2-wheel drive, 3/4 ton. Are these 16.5s? Yeah, you can tell because they don't have the safety lip thinger in them. But looks like the whole there. We got the Marshall Power Guard AT all-terrain. Looks like it's got power steering under there. It's rusty. Scottsdale trim package, so it's kind of towards the bottom end. I think Silverado was the top end. Tow mirrors, painted white. The rocker is pretty much left the chat. Cab corners aren't far behind. Looks like they've been fixed at one point. Single tank? Maybe. I think it's got a steel floor under there, underneath this rubber floor mat. What they do to recycle tires or something? There's some wood in there too. I don't know what we're gonna get into back here. The box is not good. It's got the sliding rear window, AC. Got all our lichen friends up there. We got her back here because we're gonna pressure wash it first and clean it up. We should pump up some tires. It's got matching Marshalls all the way around. What a deal. Check this out. You got the safety chain hooks back here that I don't know how you'd hook to them. And they couldn't get the old license plate off, so they just tied the new one to it. Classy. The old 5-pin round. Yep. Decent tailgate. We got Carpenter Calvin over here with his skirt. Looks like it was sold at Redfield, South Dakota at one point. The self-proclaimed pheasant capital of the world. Jesus is the reason for the season, which is, ouch, son of a biscuit. That thing got me right in the ankle, Duff. Looks like somebody did some Mortske body work there. Rust behind the wheel. Well, oh, there's a lot of Bondo or filler or something in there. It does have dual tanks, one on each side, because GM thinks. Big old hooey in the door. Cab corners shot. Fenders shot. That tire's real low. Duff, you want to open the hood on this thing for me? That'd be great. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Nailed It Construction said that's custom deluxe, bottom of the barrel. Ooh, he's got the racing stripes too.
Real fast.
And then he says right after that came the Scottsdale. Looks like they got the Case IH battery. Did they punch it out? June 13. So I'm guessing that's June of 23. Oh, it's got West's favorite clamp on ends. Oh yeah, that's right. This thing should be, there it is. April of 13 is when she was manufactured. So that's an 11-year-old battery. Rusty in the cowl. All the dirt falls in them vents and rusts them out. You gotta watch out for that because that would not be fun to fix, but we don't care. Missing the jack. It's got some sketchy electrical going on. Small block, 2-barrel, 4-barrel, I don't know. August of 75. It's got the small radiator, no AC. It does have power steering, like we said earlier. It's got power brakes. All the squares had disc brakes. Let's see what it is. I can see it's already a quadrabog. HEI. He said he found the keys for it, but before he did, he had it on the trailer, so he unhooked the shift linkage for us. So we got to rehook that back up. But, oh man. Well, is the throttle loose? She's loose. It definitely looks like a quadrabog. He said it turns over, and he is right. the fan moves. Get the old Knipex out here. Just put a wing nut back on it for cheese and rice. Make my life a lot easier. Now the stud spins out. Hey, filter looks good. A lot of mouse house action going on there. Oh, it's the Holly version of the Quadrabog. You can tell it's a Holly by the way that it is.
This is an aspen. You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
No headers. All the plug wires look like they aren't chewed off all the way. Looks like our temp sender wire is no longer with us. Is that what this is back here? Oh yeah, she's laid on the manifold a few times. Don't worry, it'll be just fine. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? But look at how dirty this thing is, and this thing will probably be a donor. So let's get the pressure washer out and clean the engine bay, clean the air cleaner. Make sure Fivel's not in here anymore. And Fivel's been in the interior. It's real ripe in here. The reason I second guessed myself earlier is built 8th of 75. So I don't know if that's 75 or 76. We're calling it a 75. We can't read the gauges, so we don't know how many miles are on it. AM radio, no tilt, automatic. But yeah, there's a lot of mouse poop in here. Ooh, trailer ball, 2-inch, small shank. She's a good one. We'll keep that. Any goodies behind the seat? Socks. Why would you keep spare socks? Ooh, hydraulic jack, score, and the other matching license plate for the front. That's about it. There's the key, the other keys. There's the rear view mirror. Floors are a little squishy. Ooh, a dime. Trailer brakes, mounted with plumber's tape. Nothing. Yuck. All right, we're gonna hose this all out. I might grab that jack and a couple other things that are gonna blow away. We're starting some pressure washing. Cue the PFS music. Big carpenter over at Nailed It Construction. We're working on our synchronized thumbs up for the 2028 Olympics. It's gonna be a new competition. This thing's way cleaner inside than that 57 Chevy. Those nylons. Maybe somebody was robbing banks, or somebody was really weird and wore nylons. Oh, the old insulation behind the seat. It's going away. Winchester low brass 12 gauge. Highlight. You'll see the difference. Oh, spray. That book's stuck together. Not gonna ask questions. How do you make a book turn to dust? Shoes.
Let's get some shoes.
We ain't buying shoes. Sweet brass valve. Keeping that. Flasher. Measuring cup for cooking meth. Stop thistles now. Control noxious weeds. No power windows, no power locks. Oh, Scotty's a stripper model here. Get ourselves electric fence insulator. I'm not a cowboy, so I'm just making stuff up, but I think that's what it's for. Guaranteed glove box is full mouse house. Oh, not bad. Oh, that's a keeper. Redfield Sales Company, Redfield, South Dakota. I don't think Redfield has a Chevrolet dealer. Must have been a carpenter himself. Some door hinges and striker plates. We'll save that for Greta. Throw in the scrap dumpster. We need to get that thing, need a new one. It's getting full. Never mind that silly car with its horizontal wings. All right, anything else good in here we need to keep? Cigar, stogie, short but not too big around. Well, there's our list of options. Saddle interior, spare tire relocation, gauges, 750/16, seat belts, aux fuel tank, V8, heavy duty rear springs, tinted glass, folding seat, that was an option. Rear axle, 410s. 410s? Yeah. Ooh, she's gonna get up and go. Power brakes, turbo, hydromatic. 62 buckskin solid. That's what color she is. She's the old buckskin. Maybe it's got a name. Buckskin Scotty. Anyway, pressure washing time. I'd clean out that bed, but I feel like we start cleaning and there's gonna be nothing left there. We won't even be able to throw any more junk in it. Fall right through. All right, we gave the old Squarebody an evening to thaw out, and of course it's gonna start raining again, so let's get this thing inside and get to work. Pumped up all the tires so it'll roll better. No help thanks to Duff. You wanna steer it in and I'll push with Bernie? Think we can push it by hand? Yeah, probably better. I need a sled dog. We hook a rope to it and then I say mush, and then you just pull it in.
Mush!
Maybe it would work with pedal cars.
Who's your big baby?
Who's your big baby?
Duffer says.
Duffer says. Oh yeah. All right, let's get to work on this thing. Mush. Come on, Duff. Push. Steer. One or the other. Okay, not out. Come on, baby. Get over the hump. Oh yeah. There we go. It's all downhill from here. Except for the back wheels. Get them over. Got it. If only we had a tow truck or a skid steer or a telehandler. You're just gonna sit there and watch? Cripes, man. Whew, getting fat. What did it leak? It doesn't look important. So much for that nice new concrete. Rear main seal leaks on Bernie, so I parked it in the perfect spot so the rear main drips in the gravel. All right, let's get this thing up in the air and then we can get the shift linkage hooked up because I don't want to get this thing running and thinking it's in park and it's not in park and drive through like a 35 Ford Coupe or smash into Bernie or my overhead door, or plus we get to look at the bottom side, check out them 410 gears and super rotten floors. All right, let's take a look at the bottom side of the old tanned ham here, see how she looks. Well, there's our leak. Apparently the power steering decided to leak. I pressure washed too much of the goo off it and now it's leaking. Pre-emission, so it's only got the 2-line fuel pump on it. Nobody's hooked onto the sway bar end links and towed on it yet. Frame horns aren't bent. So there's that. All the Squarebodies had disc brakes, so no surprise there. Single exhaust, nobody's hacked that up. Been a while since she had an oil change. She's pretty grimy. Got a block heater in it. Oh yeah, real grimy. Starter's gonna be in fantastic shape. No headers, so didn't burn all the wires off. Tranny lines aren't all cobbled together and spliced. Original shocks. Oh yeah. Body mount's gone, inner rocker's gone, floors are gone. Looks like both fuel tank setups are still plumbed up. There's our crossover valve. That's an early one. I've never seen those up. Ooh, Scotch clip, the electrical guillotine. Never seen them up close. Usually these things had a guard on them and they get all rusty and somebody's only running off of one tank. Muffler, she's blown out. The long bed's got a 2-piece drive shaft with a hanger bearing, so that's in good shape. Oh, it's not a 400. She's a 350. We've been duped. Son of a biscuit. And she is a greasy, grimy gopher gut at that.
Greasy grinding over guts.
Big old stack of leaf springs. The old pleasurizers are ribbed for your pleasure.
Rib for her pleasure. Ew.
Man, these things got some brakes on them. Not only will she pull a house, she'll stop one too. Rear main seal ain't even leaking yet. See how rotten the floor is. Oh man, like that is all plywood. I wonder what the last year that you could get a wood floor in these things. It had to have been about this vintage. I know you can get wood floors in some of the Squarebodies. Looks like somebody did the old tailpipe delete and just put a turn down right there. The hanger bracket is still back there for the tailpipe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I count 14, so that must be a corporate 14 bolt. More electrical guillotines in the taillight harness for the trailer connector, no doubt. And of course the taillight harness isn't even hooked up anymore. Easy fix. We could plug that back together. Be back on the road with lights in no time. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom, I'm done.
No extra charge. Here's where they get all rusty. And oh, somebody's patched it. Look at that. Look at all them pop rivets. Just frickin' stacked like cordwood up there. I wonder how far back they went. I could see a seam right there, so that's all the further they went. But then there's Bondo underneath it. Oh my. We're just gonna stop looking at that. No pop rivets on this side, but there's like 4 layers of metal, so they did a different plan of attack on that side. I'm guessing they weren't using this fuel tank, seeing as how the fuel filler neck is cut off. Or maybe the scrap guys did that. Who knows? Let's check the driver's side. Nope, looks like they were still doing that. They must have cut it on the other side, so when you started filling up and it dumped on the floor, you'd quit pumping. U-joints are tight. Hanger bearings tight. She's ready to roll. Let's set tanned ham down on the ground here and we'll hook up that shifter before I forget. So all we gotta do is pop this pin out very carefully. Don't let it shoot across the floor. I can't believe the scrappers pulled it out and didn't lose it and then slid it back in place. What a guy. That Johnny's a good kid. No, I'm just gonna lose it anyway. Come on. So close. There we go. Nope, not quite. There we go. Now, push her in there and somehow get the pin back in. There we go. Shifter hooked back up. The power steering canister does have a pretty good whammy to it, so I don't know what happened there. No clutch fan. I don't know if that was only on air-conditioned rigs or what. Now we better double check that it's actually physically in park, which it shouldn't crank over with the key unless it's in park or neutral. Easy on the door. All right. Dang it, that 10-year-old battery don't want to crank over. Give her the old roll test, double check, make sure it's in park. Yep, there's the parking Paul. Because you don't want to get run over in your own shop.
I could not believe I did that.
Is it in gear? I don't think so. Just kidding, it's in gear. So I don't know if the square body hood kink thing, I mean, it's definitely real.
While it was in the staging lane, the hood was bent while being closed, as you can see.
But anyway, I think the hood was designed to kink here in an accident so that it didn't send the hood through the occupants and you know, give them the old guillotine. But part of that is nobody ever lubricated their hood hinges. People didn't grease their ball joints and tie rod ends, so they were definitely not going to lubricate their hood hinges. So we're going to take the time, even though this hood is already damaged, we're going to lubricate these hood hinges. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pivot points. The 81 to 87 design is a significant improvement, but if taken care of, there's not a dang thing wrong with these hood hinges. And if you're ever opening one of these in the wild, make sure you push the hood back instead of down when you're closing them. That keeps them from kinking, hopefully. I've had really good luck anyway. Kind of like the Mortske flick, though. The Mortske shove, push, slide, shuffle. The Squarebody hood shuffle. All right, what's it gonna take to get this crusty old case battery out of here? We're gonna have to get tools out. Not for the ground side. Oh no, that's a new one. Check this out. It's the electrode for the batteries. Freaking came right out of there. Look at that, we got the old extendo post here. Oh, still some battery acid in there. Probably don't want to disturb that stuff. All right, we'll get a wrench out. It's got the nice fabric handle on it. Those are hard to find these days. Mojo Magic is our battery sponsor this week. You too can be a battery sponsor at mortske.com. Looks like we're gonna need a battery tray sponsor. Not a lot holding it. That's typical of about any car, is the battery acid rots these things out. The problem with these square bodies in the 6772s is the core support sits underneath it, and as you can see by my footwear underneath, that rots those out too. Had to put some new shoes on. The other ones got wet yesterday, and they just weren't cutting it. Got some Reeboks from the old Trav's Outfitter. Not a paid promotion on Trav's, just a good old car guy selling boots. Ground over there. All right, yeah, it makes sense. The side post should be facing back. I'm a big fan of not only side posts, but dual post batteries. Because then if you get side posts, you can hook it up. If you got top posts, you can hook it up. All right, let's see if these clamps get tight again. Guess this one says we need a wrench to hold it. When I'm doing these projects, and pretty much everything I drive, because I drive hot garbage, I like to leave these clamps just a little bit loose. So keeps you guessing when it doesn't start, but when you have an electrical fire or something grounding out, or just all around bad news, you can reach in here and you can grab hopefully at least one of the cables and pull it off so it doesn't burn your vehicle to the ground. So your sketchy tech tip of the day from Mortske is don't over tighten your battery cable clamps. Don't over tighten them no matter what you do, but leave them just a little bit loose so you can pop them off in a pinch. I'm gonna pull the hose off going from the fuel pump to the fuel tank so that when we try to crank it over, we don't pick up any of that 1984 gas that's in here. Just kidding. It's, what, Obama administration? I don't know. I don't pay attention to presidents. Do we have a president right now? I don't know. Is Biden even alive? Just had to get political, didn't I? Why is the clamp facing that direction? Who thinks of these things? Okay, it's facing the right way, never mind. Never mind Mojo in the background, detailing the John Deere mower with the pressure washer. Maybe these guys are into the quick connect fuel hoses. Seemed like it wiggled a bit. Thought maybe it'd slide right off. No such luck. Come on, baby. Oh, knuckle buster, here we go. Not happening. All right, I'm gonna work smarter, not harder. I'm gonna lift this thing up in the air and get at it from the bottom side. I don't know that I gained anything by doing this, but it can't be any worse than it is up there. I got an idea. It'll spin, but I can't spin it far enough, so we're just gonna cut it and then spin it and get the clamp off, because we're gonna put a new hose on there. Anyway, where I say I am. If it runs and drives and the fuel tank's good, that's what we're doing. New hoses. Cutting device. Cut the hose. Catch nasty gasoline if it were to come out. What did it do? Remove worm drive clamp. Cross your fingers, hope it's not rusty or stripped out. Remove stub of rubber hose. Retrieve fallen clamp. There we go. Now it's not going to pick up any crappy fuel from the tank and seize up our valve train. All right, I guess it's that time where we hit the old ignition switch, see what happens. You guys watch the fan. Make sure it don't hit our nice radiator hose. Good old small block Chevy, pretty hard to beat. I don't know about this Holly quadrabog setup, but HEI is almost always guaranteed to have a spark. Almost. Always. We've run into it a couple times with bad modules and other things, and maybe that's why they parked it. One way to find out. All right, I'm guessing this is our breather vent here, so put a little drizzle in there. Put a little in the breather. What are these things called? Like the Holley economizers or something? We went up to your regularly scheduled shenanigans to bring you this week's Mortske Minute, brought to you by mortske.com. Your one-stop shop for all your shenanigan needs. We got sweatshirts, ball caps, koozies, decals, screwdrivers, you name it, we got it. If we don't got it, you don't need it. So this week's Mortske Minute is on the Holley economizer, which is kind of a made-up name, but kind of stuck, which is the model 4360. It's a spread bore design similar to the quadrajet that it replaced it. And that was the reason Holley came up with it. As near as I can tell, it was produced in about 1974 through about 1980 and was a 450 CFM replacement for the quadrajet, which was a 750 to 800 CFM displacement. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of information on these things. Like I said, they were kind of created during the gas crunch period, and they were designed as a not so much of power improvement, but an economy improvement. There's a lot of mixed reviews. I'm not even gonna get into that. Some guys say that they are great and made more power. Some guys say that they were terrible. Most people say that they made less power, which makes sense. You got almost half as many CFMs as well. So the list part number on this specific model is the 7454, which seems to be the most common, and it was a replacement allegedly for Pontiacs, but apparently it fits Chevrolets as well. It is also the lowest list number possible that they offered for these things. They offered them in different variations for different size engines and different manufacturers and so on and so forth. So since that's all I could find on the old Holley economizer, we figured we'd touch on the old quadrajet. So the quadrajet was developed by Rochester, which was a subsidiary of General Motors in 1963. It did not go into production until 1965, and that year it was used on Chevrolets only. Buick and Oldsmobile came around in 1966, and then Cadillac and Pontiac in 1967. Like I said earlier, the quadrajet and the economizer were both spread bores, so they got smaller primaries and larger secondaries, so they had good economy when you're running on the primaries, and then they had good power when you're into the secondaries. Based on their design and the concept and how they work from everything from 260 cubic inch V8s all the way through 500 cubic inch Cadillac V8s. And they're also quite economical, and then they met a lot of the emission standards that came out in the early 1970s. Based on that, Rochester had bit off more than they could chew, and Carter was actually asked to come in and create quadrajets, but these ones, instead of saying quadrajet by Rochester, said quadrajet by Carter. So I never knew that. There's your worthless information of the day. The quadrajet was built to replace the Rochester 4G. It replaced the Rochester 4G entirely in 1968, and Holley in 1972. Some applications were still using the Holley and the Rochester 4G well after the quadrajet was introduced in 1965. And in 1980, they added computer command control, and those are the ones you see that got a little electrical connection on them, and that was basically just an emissions requirement that they had to meet emissions. There you have it. All you ever wanted to know about quadrajets, and just a little bit that you know about the Holley Economaster. If you know anything more about the Economaster, or if you've got experience with them, comment down below. Now back to your regularly scheduled shenanigans. All right, let's go hit the switch, see what happens. Slingshot engaged.
Slingshot engaged.
Maybe he wants some throttle action. All right, fairly certain this thing's gonna run. So let's figure out a semi-permanent fuel supply. Not so sure that Holley's gonna work out for us, but can't be any worse off than a quadrabog that's been sitting for 10 years. So let's lift this thing up in the air. Let's blow air in that fuel line and see which tank it blows into. I'm almost positive it's the one on the driver's side. So let's not even blow air in there to figure out which way the valve's set up. We can always bypass that. Let's take the old schlong and stick it in the tank on the driver's side here and see what we come up with. Hopefully it looks good. And if it doesn't, we're gonna use a boat tank. All right, let's probe the deepest depth of the driver's side saddle tank on this 1975 Chevrolet 3/4 ton. Is it bad that I look better on this camera than I do on a GoPro? Ugh, Mom always said I had a face for radio. Slipping it in dry. One finger, she's a tight one. Oh, where's we gotta get her on that next bend? Where's it at? I could smell it. It does not smell good. It doesn't pass the smell test. Over cheese and rice. What's your problem? Take it. Take the schlong. Too many bends or what? Okay, we're giving up on the schlong. Sometimes the old the schlong just can't penetrate all the way in. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the rest of that rubber hose off and we're gonna add another rubber hose, hook up to a clickety-clack, and we're gonna see what we can pump out of that tank, if anything, and go from there. All right, we got our clickety-clack in line with our tank. Now we're gonna take a little Milwaukee 12-volt battery and we're gonna hook it up to it, and hopefully it pulls some fuel out that's super clean and ready to go. The nicest 2015 fuel you've ever seen. All right, here goes nothing. Not sounding like she's picking up much. These pumps, they're meant to push, not pull. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go hook up a little air pressure and see if that allows us to pick up some fuel. We're gonna take this here bad boy, hook it up to that, and we're gonna put a rag in the gas tank and try to put some air in there. Hopefully air pressure will feed this thing. Here goes nothing. I couldn't hear anything coming out of there, so. Maybe we'll tag team it, run the pump and the blowgun. You know what's more annoying than a clickety-clack pumping fuel?
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
A clickety-clack pumping air. Well, let's unhook this and blow air back through. Maybe for some reason it is plugged up in the line, or that valve is to that tank, and so I'm blowing in the wrong tank. Story of my life. So we bought a brand new telehandler, driving her home. We're probably gonna have to put a clamp on so it don't blow off. Let's put some compressed air through there and see which side it blows out, if any. I can hear it, but I can't tell which side. Hey, Mojo.
Yeah.
How's your hearing?
Bad what?
You're supposed to respond with what? What? Which tank is this air coming out? Driver's side or passenger side? Oh, don't listen to the tire. Listen to the fuel tank. Blowing on the fuel line. Do you think I was blowing on the tube?
Oh, I wondered.
It's hard to get good help around here. Is it the driver tank or the passenger?
Passenger.
The fuel filler neck. See where the fuel filler neck is cut off?
Yeah.
Is that where you're getting air?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Passenger tank it is.
Passenger tank.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is, since that fuel filler neck is cut, we should be able to sneak the schlong in without having to go through all those bends. The bad news is, I don't know how we're gonna fill it, and I don't know how we're gonna set the camera up. We'll have to get creative. Boy, that thing is stiffer than a wedding, you know what. Oh my. Can you guys see that? That's Fievel and his buddy. The tank The tank looks pretty clean. So clean that Fievel and his cousin decided to go for a swim in there. And that was the last swim that they ever took. Get you right up in there real nice and deep like. There's a Fievel and there's a Fievel tail right there. Good news is I think we can run a filter on it and it should be good enough. There's some crap at the bottom of the tank, but looks pretty good. I'll scope around a little bit more, see how much more of the family went down in the Titanic here, but 1, 2, 3 bodies. It's like they could hear the screams and they're like, oh, I wonder what that is. Let's go check it out. Gross. Anyway, that's what Fievel gets for going for dip in my gas tank. Hopefully it was the same Fievel that went in the engine of my 57 Chevrolet station wagon. Oh no. Silliness. Freaking mice. Story of my life. All right, so I think what we're gonna do is throw a slosh again. You know, the bed floor is shot. I wonder if we should just put instead of putting a bunch of gas in this tank, because you gotta put 3-4 gallons in there just to get up to the level where it'll pick it up. The bed floor is shot, so let's just throw a boat tank in the bed floor and we'll punch a hole through the floor and we'll be good. Because it's gonna be a pain to fill this and there's a bunch of crap in there that we're gonna have to deal with. It's not worth the effort of messing with that tank. It would work in a pinch though. If you dropped it down and cleaned her out, you got the bodies out of there, should be good to go. Put that back up there for safekeeping. May that be a lesson to all the other mice that want to swim in boat tanks or pickup tanks or any type of 5-gallon bucket or fuel tank. It's a terrible way to go down. Oh yeah, more worthless Squarebody information for you. It's just a fuel cap here on these earlier ones. I'm guessing it was like in that 80, 81 year, but then they changed them over to gas doors. Case in point, Casper here, which also, there's a spare fuel tank for one right there if we really wanted to fix it. Also, Casper got himself some 5-spokes. We need to do some work on this thing someday. We'll get there. So this is our selector valve. We should be able to take this hose off right here. We'll blow it out and then just hook our marine tank right up to that guy, bypass all that mess, and yeah, should be good to go. And there's plenty of options of holes to run our fuel line through. Or if we wanted to have it in the cab, we could fish her through any of these spots right in here. Fuel tank is plumb. This is my favorite fuel tank. This is from Bob's Industrial Supply. Somebody sent it to us. I don't like this tank because it's got a really small fuel line. It's like a 1/4 inch fuel line. So I'd have an adapter to step her up to a 3/8. Mojo's out there firing up more single cylinders. But what I do love is this thing's got this primer bulb. So you squeeze that, and once she gets stiff, should have fuel all the way up to the pump and maybe even the carburetor. That being said, let's give her a crank, see if she lights off. Swing shot, engage. Man, I can't climb up in here. Sure would be nice if this pickle was slammed down on its nose and we can get right in here real nice and deep like.
Get in there nice and deep like.
Let's see if we're getting any fuel up here. The accelerator pump is not doing accelerator pump things. Chin thought it looked like this thing had maybe been on fire at one point. I'm sure it's fine. All right, let's take the fuel line off. See if we got fuel up here. 2 wrenches, kids. It's almost always a 1-inch on a quadrajet. You don't want to twist that line off or twist it at all. And then use a line wrench. Once it's cracked loose, you can definitely use an opening wrench. Well, there's a little fuel there. I'm gonna go squeeze the primer bulb and see if any comes out. Oh yeah, we're getting all the fuel up here. Yeah, she shot her all the way to the inner fender. I'm gonna tap the key to see if it squirts out. So we know we got fuel up to there. We'll see if the fuel pump is actually pumping. Definitely a fire hazard, so we don't want to pull a pudding and burn the shop down, so. Whoa! Get the fire extinguisher handy. We're not gonna need it though, because we're professionals. So I think we're gonna hook this back up, and maybe the needle and seat's stuck. We're gonna give her a few tap-taparoos.
Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Give it a little tappy. Tap-taparoo.
Before we rip into it and or swap it out. Your 1-inch wrench is also serving double duty as a needle and seat unstickerer. We're not doing our battery or starter any favors by cranking this thing over any longer than we need to, so let's just pull that carburetor off and pull it apart and see. It seems like we had one of these on a, I think it was a 76, year newer, 4-wheel drive with a 4-speed, and it seems like the inside of that Holly was full of flies, so maybe that's our issue here. As I was taking this apart, I just had a breakthrough. I was thinking about taking the top off the carburetor versus pulling the whole carburetor, because that's what we're gonna do when we take it off, just pull the top off. That's what you do, is you pull her top off. But anyway, this sure looks like an accelerator pump, and it sure looks like there's nothing hooked up to it. And then I squeezed it, and you can hear the fuel in there. Let's see if it starts now. Oh, I should have snugged that line back up. Whoopsies. Anyway, you get the point. I think if we put a rod on there, we'll have a fighting chance. So, where would that rod be? I'm guessing it's got a, that's for the choke linkage. It's supposed to be between here and here. Shouldn't have pressure washed it. Probably blew it right out of there. Just kidding. Maybe though. Well, let's go for a little stroll, because that 3/4 ton just happens to be back here in Squarebody Skid Row. See if it's got what we need, or maybe at least we'll know what we need to make. Well, here she is, back in Skid Row with all the squares. Good news is we didn't latch the hood, so Duff doesn't, we don't need his assistance. What a deal, we even put the air cleaner back on it. There it is. She's still free. There's the rod we need. Hey, there's still a clickety-clack on this thing. Is the fuel tank still in the passenger seat of this son of a gun? Yep. Oh yeah, we had big hopes of making this into a plow truck, and now it's coming back to me. So, pop that clip out, watch it shoot into the atmosphere. Put it in my mouth so I can't talk, because I talk too much. How would you ever get that off of there? Alright, we're gonna have to get creative on how to get this rod off of there. I really don't want to steal parts off of this carburetor anyway, but I definitely don't want to make it any worse than we need to. Looks like there's this vacuum diaphragm over here, and if we take that off, hopefully we can sneak that rod by the bracket for it and get her out of there. Maybe. Very, very careful.
Be very, very quiet.
All right. We got her past the bracket. Now what's it hitting? The other thing is, how are we going to get it on the other one? Same way, of course, which is the wrong way. And this, kids, is how you run a perfectly good carburetor. Now let's put it back how we found it. So the next time I go to get this thing running, I can say, why doesn't the accelerator pump work? I know it did when we parked it. Ran when parked. All right, set her back together and head back to the shop. Oh my, god dang 3/4 tons. Close our hood back up. Well, this one ain't even kinked that much. Good to go. Never mind that bullet hole. The install may require the assistance of a very small lock-in pliers. Just, there we go. Just couldn't quite get her turned by hand. The more clamping power than the Mortske mitts can provide. I have no idea how this could have ever come apart without human assistance. Didn't even lose that clip. I was afraid to say something until it was all the way on there. Now we gotta hook up this vacuum pull-off doohickey. All right. Should. Oh yeah. Oops. I don't know what that was. I wasn't shooting off, but. We got it. Oh, that was the clip that hit something. I just talked about how we saved that clip. I heard where it went, right by my face. Whoops. All right, now let's give her a whirl with an accelerator pump, see if that helps. All right, the old Holley Economaster isn't doing so hot here, so let's pull it off and dig into it, clean it up, see what we can find. Maybe give her one more shot, and then we're going to the tried and true quadrajet that we might have one laying around here somewhere we can try. All right, let's rip into the old Economaster. There we go. Not a chance for saving that gasket by the sounds of it. And if you guessed that I didn't have any Holley Economaster rebuild kit sitting around, you would be correct. I don't know where that come from. Well, it doesn't look terrible in here. The accelerator pump is doing accelerator pump things. Mojo's doing Mojo things. I think we're just gonna table this Economaster and grab something. I'm not gonna say better in the aspect that maybe it'll work. But before I do that, I'm gonna try to put this thing back together. Where did that come from? Well, maybe that's why it's not working, is whatever that little piece there is. I guess our accelerator pump isn't real happy with the whole situation either. We're just gonna drop it in there for safekeeping. I would love to hear your experiences with the Holley Economaster. Did you have one? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it the best thing ever? Was it so much better than the quadrajet that you replaced it with? Comment down below. Maybe we need to get Chin to go through one of these and we can compare them, do some side by side, you know, work truck things. Yeah, judging by the black soot in here, this issue was pre-existing and could have been the reason why they parked it. Another thing it could be is valve timing, or bad valve, or ignition timing. There's a lot of things it could be. But right now, we're gonna say it was this. Then we're gonna grab a different one and try. But we're gonna get this thing back to one pile first. There we go, ready for the parts bin. Scrap dumpster, who knows? Not ready to go back on the old, what are we calling it? Tanned ham. All right, we're back. It's the next day. My cousin showed up yesterday, brought a car down to work on, and you'll see that video at a later date. But anyway, we got to get this thing running. Quadrajets around here are a love-hate relationship. We got them on a lot of vehicles. I really do love them, but when they're no good, they are no good. And I found out that they sell Chinese Amazon replacements for a couple $100. And by the time you buy a kit and re-kit one and you got your time into it, plus the bushings are all wore out, let's give it a whirl. And ideally a real world test on this thing would be to throw one on a good run and pickup where you know it's got good compression, you know it's got good valves, rings, the ignition timing, all that stuff. But we're not doing that. We're just gonna throw it on an old piece of crap pickup. See how it works, straight out of the box. So Amazon, third world country unboxing of Q-Jet commences. Dug through my stash and I found a new gasket. Apparently when Chin stashed this away, he referred to it as the chrome quadrajet. So apparently him or one of us peeked at it and determined it, oh, it's chrome. This is made by X-Peating Rods. Manual divorce choke, 750 CFM. I guess I didn't need the gasket. What? It comes with spare parts? It's never a good thing. You ever buy one of those terrible Chinese, what do you call it? Angle grinders? And it comes with an extra set of brushes? Yeah. Ooh, that is a terrible gasket. I don't know what kind of material that's, it's like plastic? I don't know, and it's shiny and smooth and hard. Comes with the air cleaner gasket, that seems pretty legit. But me not being a quadrajet guy, those are what, orifices? Jets? And I thought these things were like metering rods was how you change the jetting on these things. So yeah, looks like we come with a bunch of different spare parts. Oh, those are 63s. Those are 43s. 33s. Let me guess, 53s. 73s. Anyway, yeah, so if you really knew what you were doing, and this thing really was good, you could get it all dialed in. More packing. More pack. Oh my gosh. They did not want the chrome Q-Jet to go anywhere. Even comes with some instructions. There's actually some pretty decent instructions in there, and they're easy to read and understand, so they got a really good translator. Anyway, let's throw this thing on and see how she works. Oh, it's even got vacuum plugs on everything. mean, it looks good. Let's see if it works half as good as it looks. So typically quadrajets are held down with bolts. So we're gonna take these studs out of here that are just finger tight. And we're gonna find the right length bolts. And we're gonna hit that with our gasket scraper. Throw a new gasket on. And bolt it on there. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Get your SS1 gasket scraper at mortske.com. In stock now. Getting the old petroleum jelly out. Since this carburetor is probably not going to be long to live on this engine, and we'll probably take this engine out and put in something else that is cooler at some point, we're going to schmooze some petroleum jelly on there, DD Speed Shop style. Just so we're 100%. This is like race car stuff. That's what they do. So that it saves our $10 gasket so we can reuse it the next time. Your worthless information of the day. I think I've shown this way too many times and people are really sick of hearing it. But the other thing is, I wonder if we should just pull the engine out of this thing. Got that Nova out back. Just begging to have something done with it. We dropped this Turbo 350 in small block in the old 72 Nova, and then we got something. All right, now that we got her good and schmooed up, God, that guy is a hack. We're ready to put a quadrabog on. All right, let's see if I got the right length hardware. Oh yeah. Make sure we got enough thread in each one. I guess I should have put the fitting in for the power brakes, but there's a plug right now, so we're just gonna leave that in there and not have power brakes. Works for me. So I was just leaning over this quadrabog, looking down, daydreaming, and I dreamed I saw something. And I thought it looked like a steering shaft, and why would there be a steering shaft on the passenger side? Long story short, I don't think it's a steering shaft. Isn't that like a, I don't know, some type of spike? I thought it was for concrete forms, but there's no holes in it to nail the form to. But it's got a point. I wonder what they had going on down here. Anyway, mine now. So another reason I like quadrajets is they were on a million different things, so they fit on a million different things. There's a lot of changes. There's like electric choke, manual choke, automatic choke, like vacuum choke or heat riser. I don't know. And they put them on everything from what, like 267s and 305s all the way up to 454s. So they're really versatile, and they probably take some tuning. If you got a big block, you're probably gonna want to find a big block quadrajet. And if you got a small block, you want to find a small block quadrajet. But anyway, they work pretty good. You can take a big block one, put on a small block, and vice versa. He seemed like they're okay, but this way we don't have to mess around with choke linkage. We don't have to mess around with throttle linkage. We don't have to mess around with adapters. We don't have to find different fittings for our brake booster and for our fuel line and make a new fuel line and all that. They just bolt on and go, which is kind of like this Holly was aiming at with the old Economaster. Was it a direct replacement? Now that I say that, we're gonna find some glitch, something that they screwed up when they had this Economaster on there. One of those, I think, is the throttle linkage. It looks like they had a stud on there, which is meant for a clip, and our throttle linkage is meant to have a stud with a pin. We're gonna worry about throttle linkage later. Let's get her bolted down. 12 foot-pounds, according to speeding rods. Tell you what, we're even gonna hook up our choke. Oh yeah. And we're gonna hook up our vacuum advance. We're gonna pull this plug off. All right, they got the stiffest, hardest plastic plugs. They're not even rubber. Maybe that's better, I don't know. But I always like to hook up the vacuum advance. Oh yeah, these are cheap, thin, crappy. They're like heat shrink almost. Now we gotta get a return spring. That's the other thing it says in the instructions, and I usually say it too, is make sure you have full throttle travel and that it doesn't bind. You don't want that. And it never sticks at idle. It always sticks at wide flipping open. Don't ask me how I know. All right, now we gotta find a stud Not this guy. I need to find a stud to hold this throttle linkage. I was gonna have a dad joke in there, but we'll hold off on the old studly dad jokes. So this stud that was on that other carburetor, it's like a clip-on style clamp that goes over this. It's like a ball and socket, and this is the ball. And this one's just got a hole. So you're supposed to have like some type of pin that goes through there, but if it was working for them before, it'll work for what we got going on now. But you see a lot of creative throttle linkage bracketry and such with these carburetor swaps, especially when guys are going to you know, like a regular Holly or a Edelbrock, whatever works, I guess. But again, this is why I like stock stuff. This is just a son of a gun. I cannot get my fat hands with these tiny little pieces of hardware to all cooperate. Okay, the washer is on. Now for the burr. She started. And that's the other thing, is you want to have it tight in the hole so it isn't vibrating and running loose on you and such. Okay, and this bracket is thinner than the other one, so it won't tighten up without a spacer. Now, for what we're gonna do, I hate being a hack. All right, I'm gonna go do it right and go get a bigger washer for a spacer. I was just gonna tighten it up and run it, but we'll leave that to that guy north of the border. All right, just got a 1/4 inch washer to take up that slop. There we go. Now, they had this throttle linkage. They just slid it over that. It's kind of a tight fit to go over the top of that ball, but I suppose it could come off of there. Man, that all went pretty seamlessly. We're still gonna need a stud for our air cleaner. Other than that, oh, we don't have our kick down hooked up because we're missing the stud that goes on there for that. So no kick down, which is fine on a 350, but if you got like a 700 R4, that's your TV cable, throttle valve, and that is definitely required. But I'm not gonna say you don't need them on a turbo 350 because somebody's gonna argue with me, but it'll be fine. I think Reggie has been running for 25 years without one. So, where does our kick down? Oh, it does have a bolt on. God dang it, right there. I suppose we could put that on there. That way it's on our quadrajet for our next application, should it be an automatic. Manuals, obviously, don't need those. So I'm gonna take that off and put on that other one. Or attempt to take it off and attempt to put it on this other carburetor. All right, so that stud for the kickdown is about a 5/16 stud. The hole in that precise, use the term pretty loosely, location on the replacement is significantly smaller, and the bracket is altogether different. So I think you could probably read the hole out, but there's just not a good way to get at it. And you could put it on the bracket on the outside, but then it binds up with the return spring. And so it's gonna take a little bit of work to get a kickdown working on here the way that is. And I would like to compare it to an actual quadrajet as opposed to that Economaster. Maybe something's different there, but for the time being, we're just not gonna have a kickdown. We're just gonna have to do the old fashioned way. When I wanna put her in passenger gear, just drop her in second gear with the old shift lever on the column. So that is another downfall to the China jet? Is that what we're calling it? Anyway, I think we're ready to give her a whirl. See what happens. When I was packing up last night, I did notice a lot of mouse house came out of the old tailpipe here. Not surprised. All right, let's see if she runs better with the Asia jet. Oh, one other thing I didn't hook up, the PCV. We should probably hook that up. Really the only reason I care about the PCV is I want that hole plug in the valve cover. Sounds like a baby rattle. So that means it's working. One of the few parts you shake and you want it to rattle to know that it's good. It's gonna take a while to get gas up there. I don't know if you saw that, but I didn't touch the foot feet or anything. It just fired up and it idled once we got enough fuel in there. So far, so good. I'm really impressed. It's running pretty good. We haven't done spark plugs or wires or ignition or timing, and we know nothing about this engine, but I think we know that it needed a quadrajet when it was parked. And the old Amazon jet. Dang. I could totally live with that. Let's give her a couple braps. See how she runs. Got a belt squeal. Put the choke all the way off. Might have to turn the idle speed up just a hair. We'll take it. I need some adjustment on the choke setup. Or maybe it's not up to operating temp. I would certainly guess by the smoke that it's getting there. We evicted a little bit more mouse house too. That is a big old chunk of mouse house. I wonder if we can actually read the oil pressure. It's charging. And oil is somewhere in the middle. So about 30 pounds. We'll take it. Brake pedal? Don't go to the floor. Oh yeah, we got brakes. No power brakes, but we got brakes. Good enough for the girls we go with anyway. We got a trailer ball on this thing? Oh, dang it. Just say we could put a hitch on it. Go haul some cars around. The old-fashioned way, 3/4 ton two-wheel drive. Gasser. Slight exhaust leak, but we know the muffler's blown out. And that is a lot of mouse house. It's everywhere. See if the tranny shifts. Guaranteed it's low, because they always are. And as greasy as that thing was. Nothing. Maybe they parked it because the tranny smoked. Let's get some airflow up in this place. And then check the dipstick, Jimmy. Well, we're definitely getting to operating temp. She's a little smoky under here. And bone dry per usual. All right, see if she moves after 2 quarts. I tried, but we're gonna need some more. Sure enough, about a gallon of ATF later, tranny's where it needs to be. If you'll remember, our carb stud, air cleaner stud, the nut was stuck on there. So we're gonna get that nut off there, and then we're gonna find a wing nut, and then we'll be ready to put that on there. The coolant was about halfway down the radiator, so we'll top that off. Like I said, brakes work. So we're about ready to take it for a rip. Our next dilemma. So we got our carb stud, air cleaner stud in there, and it's not long enough. So that's the other thing I don't like about, you know, putting an Edelbrock carburetor on or Holly, is then your air cleaner stuff doesn't work anymore. And this has got, you know, it's got the heat riser tube, and it's got the clearance for the distributor, and all that. So I like keeping my stuff stock. Now I gotta go find a carb stud. But while I was in there, I got the scraper out, the old super scraper, the SS5 model. And the suffix code on the engine block is TXB, which decodes as a 1975 350 165 horse 4-barrel. So she's number is matching all 165 ponies. That's a lot, huh, Duff? It's probably got like 180 foot-pounds of torque too. Get that itch. Get that itch. Oh, I'll get the one behind your ear. Who's our gut bumpers? Duffers is. You wanna go find me a 1/4-inch carb stud? That'd be great. That'd be great. The old hood won't shut because this hood's delaminating. She's been hitting there for a while, so let's fix it I don't think we need a body hammer. We'll use one, but Cowboy Joe could use the claw hammer. Old reliable here. I don't know how that was. That was that hard. Just needed a couple of love taps. You're not swinging for the fences, hitting home runs. You're just bunts. Just a couple of love taps. This side of the hood's pretty good. Over here, she's a kinky girl. But it's good enough for the girls we go with. I really wish I wasn't lazy enough to pull that door panel off and pop that out. But you can see by the way the paint's cracked, especially right in there, she's kinked. So if we put a plunger on it, it's not gonna pull all that out. And even if we got it at the backside and hit her with a 2x4 or a 4x4, it's still gonna be kinked. So we're not gonna address that. I'm just gonna have to take her to Barrett Johnson the way that she is. Let's see if it'll back out of the shop. What do you think, Scotty? You got it in you? I don't know where the Duff is, but I bet he comes running by the time we get her outside. Probably by the time I put it in here. You don't even gotta touch the draw. You can definitely tell that the brakes are power brakes and they don't have power going to them, but it'll be good enough. We'll hook them up before we hook onto a trailer. You know what I don't like? The squeal in the belt. So let's see if we can address that. I found the Duff just hanging out by that 60 Cadillac that nobody wants to buy and the 56 Chevy that nobody around here wants to work on. God dang it, we got a pretty good lineup of squares this morning. And then there's that thing. I think it's sold. Everybody that said that, that thing's not worth $3,000. Well, to somebody it is apparently. Are you gonna come fix this belt? Okay. So, she's a little loose, not bad. Sometimes pulleys just are smoked and they'll squeal. Sometimes your belt shot causes it to squeal, sometimes misalignment. And sometimes it's just as easy as adjustment. See, this alternator belt is tightened all the way out. So that tells me that they either got the wrong size belt or that somebody's been reefing on this thing trying to get this squeal to go away. And I'm guessing one of these pulleys is smoked and that's why it's squealing. Power steering is nice and tight. Let's see which one's squealing. I guarantee it's this one. And the way that we're gonna do that is we're gonna go grab some squirrel piss. We're gonna fire it up and we're gonna spray one of the belts and rev it up and see if it squeals. If it continues to squeal, then it's probably the other one. And then we'll spray the other one. And if it doesn't go away then this was a worthless test. We're gonna start with the alternator belt. But check this freaking quadrajet out. No pump, nothing, just... Wow, right out of the box. We still haven't dialed anything in on it. So, since the noise went away when we sprayed on the alternator belt, it's definitely the alternator belt. And you'll notice that the alternator pulley is significantly smaller diameter than the water pump pulley or the fan pulley and the crankshaft pulley. So that pulley has to spin several times more per revolution compared to the other two. So that one's gonna wear out faster because it's gotta spin more. So I bet if we put an alternator on there, it would go away. We wouldn't even have to change that belt. That belt is terrible. And for all intents and purposes, we're gonna run it. So there you go, just a quick, easy way to check belts. Because belt squeal, it shouldn't exist. So I dug through my stash, you guys know how much I love hubcaps. And I can't think of anything else to do to church this thing up. I mean, it's so perfect. But anyway, a long time ago, I think that's when I called out Puddin'. That's when this whole thing kind of kicked off, the YouTube thing. We had a van. Like a 75 Chevy 3/4 ton van, bought it on an auction for like $175. That engine is now in the Blueser, which Chin loves that thing, which it's pretty good. Needs some floors, needs some seats, but we're getting there. We got the gauges working. It's a really good driver. But anyway, those hubcaps were on that van, and the van is no more. Not with us, but save the hubcaps. Cleaned them up a little bit. They're not great, but they're perfectly crappy for the rest of this pickup. So you can see the paint's a little bit more faded. It should be painted black there and painted black there. They're not magnetic, so I think they're stainless. They're definitely not aluminum. Mojo's back there doing will it run things on trenchers, but anyway, let's get these bad boys slapped on there. I need some 8-lug slots, some 16.5s. I mean, I'd like 16s, but 16.5s seem like they're readily available. I just need to jump on a set. We'll put the nicer two on the driver's side, because that's the side we walk up to most of the time, and it's also the straighter side of the pickup. Transformation complete. Okay, 3 more, whatever. Look at that thing. Would you just look at it?
Oh, look at that, look at that.
This thing is so good, it's so much better. With just a couple of hubcaps. You go pick them up at your local garage sale, rummage sale, thrift shop. They're out there. Way good. Just like that thing, wheels and tires. If it didn't have that giant hooey in the door, or all that rust, or the cracked windshield, or the missing mirror, or missing paint, just kidding. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I can't stand that grill though. I wonder if we got a grill laying around. I'll go ask the chin. Hey, we got a spare 75 Chevy pickup grill around, laying loose. Are they easy to put in? Definitely not gonna get a yes or no answer.
Yeah, on that 3/4 ton, I think it's 75, 76 grill.
Laying loose? Dang it. All right, Chin says there's a Cherry 74 grill laying there. See if that fits. Oh, we gotta get rid of the old Food Grill Special first. There's a couple teeth left. These ones are the best. The egg crate with the deep dish pizza, real nice. How are these held in? Phillips screws, we can handle that. The moment of truth, will it fit? Definitely too deep dish. Duffers, you ready to go for an RIDE? Really wish we had a grill, but we're not gonna. Whew, she's still ripe in here. Hold up. Is your seat wet? Must not stink that bad because you're not interested in smelling it. Not even gonna touch the gas pedal. Come on, Amazon bog. It's so good. AM radio. Oh, this has got the antennae in the windshield. I heard some crackling, Duff. No AM radio. Good oil pressure. Is it cold blood or why isn't it chooching up? Seems like she's got a bog. Your mirror's pretty busted. The windshield mirror fell off. The engine died. I just had to brag about that carburetor, didn't I? Maybe the Amazon bog doesn't like the air cleaner. Why? Better here than on the interstate. It sounds like timing. Maybe the quadrajet is only meant to idle. I know you want to snuggle, but I'm not really in the mood for it right now. Gosh dang it, I just want my small block to run. And you just want to go for a ride. Gosh, I know you're just a big baby. Just a big baby who wants to go for a ride. Load it up or what? Pin it to win it. Come on, baby, come out of it. Come on now. Just won't rev up. I got it wooded right now. What's wrong with it, Duff? All right, air cleaner's coming off. One air cleaner going on the passenger floor. Oh, that heater box has to be full of mouse house. What happened? All right, we got a giant vacuum leak, or what's going on here? We're getting plenty of fuel. Is our timing loose? Oh, maybe. So, it seems like it's kicking back on the starter. So yeah, we'll retard it a bit, see what happens. Push her back some more. Firing order's gotta be correct. Retarded. Let's see what the retardant does. I don't get it. I got her just flat-footed. And in gear. And it won't make enough revolutions to get over the old torque converter. Come on, baby. Won't rev up at all. Looks like we're gonna have to get Bernie the Ford to save the day once again. All right, I guess Mojo's got his running, so he beat me to the punch, but you're gonna have to deal with the noise, because Mojo thinks. Anywho, I'm gonna pull a couple spark plugs out, and we'll see what they look like. I don't understand how they would have got loaded up, just sitting there, but seems like she's full. And then we're probably gonna have to retime it. But in the meanwhile, let's spin it back to kind of where it was. She's a little, oh yeah. She's pretty chewy in there. There's a lot of carbon action in there. They don't look like they're that old, the Delco plugs. I'm guessing that Economaster did its number on these things. See how the rest of them look. It's strange how it ran so good. Oh yeah, that thing's real sooted up. Oh, these guys use the old derby car trick through the red RTV silicone on the plug so that the wire didn't fall off. All right, fresh set of Delco R45 TS's. Well, let's see what happens. Hopefully it wasn't the Amajet that caused the fuel into the plugs, but I guess we'll find out. Let's throw the air cleaner back on it. You know, we don't want to get our quadrajet full of debris. Hopefully the spark plugs are better this time. Got a little stumble. Just off idle though, so we'll just bump the idle up. Fixed it. Maybe that's where you're supposed to do the dialing in on the quadrabog. Oh yeah, she'll trip the tires against the brakes. We're golden now. We are golden. Here goes nothing. Square body door latches. Top-notch design. You want yours latched? Did you do it already? Got it. No thumbs, so I'm here for you, pal. Second, she kind of wanders like those tires are wandering if they're gonna hold air very long. Oh, it's wow, why is the trash flying in my face? Everybody's coming back from the rally. Yeah, she's a wanderer. Yeah, stick your head outside, then you don't have to get all the stuff in your face and your mouth that we didn't get out when we washed it. How's our oh, it's because we got the AC on. Say how much, it's all crap blowing in from the bed. Shin had to open that just because he was all excited that it had a really nice sliding rear window. It's brisk out. It was 50 degrees this morning. A lot of wind noise. Speedometer works. You can't read it, but I can see the needle. This thing ain't too bad. Go 410s. Seems like it's running smooth. I don't know. Those plug wires were really brittle. I think the plugs were just in bad shape from the old Holley Economaster. So it just needed some plugs. I'm sure it could use a tune-up. Dial in that timing. Probably needs a vacuum advance canister like they all do. But really, hook up the brake booster, throw some tires on this thing, and it wouldn't be the worst driver. Steering wheel's a little sticky. You're not surprised, I'm sure. I pressure washed it trying to get the stickiness off because I knew it was going to be sticky. Jin says the magic erasers are the way to go to get the stickiness off your steering wheel, but I haven't tried. I have yet to clean a steering wheel for a square body. I just deal with what's on there. She does wander a little bit. Yeah, those. I think it's just the tires or the old Marshalls or seen better days. I think we got a few busted belts. Due for replacement. Yeah, I think you could even clean the fuel tank in this thing and put a new fuel filler neck. Be running off that. So yeah, what do we do to this thing? Plugs, Amazon carburetor, battery, threw a little coolant and a little ATF in it. Speaking of that, temp gauge is barely above C. She's coming up. It's got good oil pressure. And we pressure washed it out. Threw some hubcaps on it. It's a good looking unit. But unfortunately, this thing is just too far gone. I can feel the floor rattling under my left foot. I'm sure that fuel tank hasn't been used in years and it's probably shot. It needs the door seals real bad. Busted mirror. This mirror needs glued on. Windshields probably should be replaced. Bed floor shot. It's got the usual rust. Needs an alternator pulley, some belts, probably some hoses. Guessing it's going to need brakes and seals and all that stuff. Tires. Needs a muffler. Yeah. She's going to be a donor. We will put a price in the video description if somebody wants to buy it, but I feel like it's worth more to Duff and I as a donor rig for a drivetrain swap because it's got a 350 and a turbo 350. Oh, them brakes push hard. But yeah, it's got good pieces for putting on something else. And plus, we got a couple $100 in that carburetor, and plus the investment of the pickup. So, I mean, we're not into this thing for $400 anymore. Plus, we got to get something for our time. You know, your time is worth something, and it's just worth more than that $400 as a donor rig. She's up to operating temperature, and it's got good oil pressure, 30 pounds. So I think it's safe to say if we pulled this thing out, maybe threw a rear main seal and oil pan gasket in it, throw a fuel pump on it and a tune-up, throw this thing in maybe the old Nova or something else in the yard, and kick the rest of this thing out to the weeds. This thing wouldn't even make a good pickup box trailer because the bed floor is so rotten. So, yeah. She's going to be a donor rig. Half ton would be way better donor rig, or pickup to build anyway, but 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive, we'd probably keep that around, but 3/4 ton 2-wheel drive, just don't excite Duff or I. So, yeah. The seat, if it didn't stink so bad, I could probably use on something else. Oh, can we slow down for the tracks? All right, let's see if she'll do a little burn ski with the 410s, Duff. If I can push the brakes hard enough, drop her in low. Oh yeah! She's getting it! Yo, Marshall's got a little smoke left in her too. That's a pretty good one for a 3/4 ton. Didn't kick a rod out. Didn't blow a cap off the tire. Covered up the mouse smell. That's one thing about gears. Not everybody. A lot of people overlook gearing, you know. Transmission gearing, you know, your low gear, and then if you got overdrive, and then tire size and width, and then if you got a posi or not plays a big part. But if you want to get out of the hole, or if you want to pull, or if you want to do burnouts, a super short gear like a 410, 456, 513, even a 373 is going to make a big difference over like a 241 or a 273 or a 308. So yeah, that's why this thing can do it, because the 410s. And then, you know, that 165 horsepower and probably 180 foot-pounds of torque the old 350's got, and the Amazon bog just topping her all off. Can't believe it runs that good, because those plug wires were so brittle. Like, they're in bad shape. So definitely need to address that if we're going to do something with this thing. But yeah, no strange noises. Seems like it's got the power that it should have. Should be a good donor. We just need to work on a project one of these days, Duff. Drop her in. Do burnouts with something cool. It's impressive. And it wasn't even like a squeal, that tire. Usually when them tires are that old and hard, it's just like a zzz, and then they don't make any smoke. That one was a zzz, but it made some smoke. There was no squealing, but there was smoke. So to the two S's of burnouts, squealing and smoke, we just got smoke. Tranny seems like it shifts through the gears fine. Yeah. Not a bunch of exhaust leaks. I think she's pretty good, Duff. Good enough for the girls we go with. I would even say this thing would make an okay-ish daily if we hooked up the power brakes. And didn't get too far from home, because the old Marshall Maypops are on their way out. Probably need to rotate after that burnout back there. Even the dash pad is respectable. Clean up the steering wheel. Wonder if the old off trick that everybody uses on fogged over composite headlights would work on these gauges. Actually, rubbing them with my finger makes it so you can read it anyway. Yeah. Fuel gauge says she's full, which it most definitely is not, so that needs some work. Oh yeah, I forgot. Brakes are a little bit is a stretch of the imagination. They're a little bit there, is about it. First, second, Nice smooth shift. Not too firm, not squishy. Third. Oh yeah. See how it takes the railroad tracks at 50. Just floats over them like a 3/4 ton with a stack of 13 leaves. Oh yeah, if you do want to buy this thing, it's a parts rigger. You got to be from a state where you got to be able to get your own title, because we didn't get one. Scrap guys usually don't provide you with a title. Once in a while they do, but usually it's somebody's cleaning out an estate or who knows what, but there's no title. They're not stolen, they just don't, it's not worth their effort to go through and get the paperwork, because they're just going to scrap it. Old Scotty, she's a pretty good old rig here. What was I calling it? Oh, Tam. I really do dig the stripes on this thing. These pickups, the paint jobs, they weren't done top notch, but the styles were top notch. Bring back two-tone pickups. That's what I want to see. Chevy, Ram, Ford, Toyota, Mazda, Elon Musk, Tesla, whoever, just bring back the two-tone pickups. It looks so much better. She definitely needs a tune-up. Just think of how good a burnouts it would do with a tune-up, Duff. He's over it. He wants to put it in something cool like a Nova so he can pick up his lady friends. We got enough pickups in the yard. Oh, Duff, your pal Bob is here to visit you. He's your favorite non-secret admirer. Yeah, she gauges, so there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 notches. After the third one is where she gets the hot, and she's just right at the second notch, so 25% of the way up the gauge, so she's good. You can go say hi to Bob. She's a little steamy. That's just the oil and dirt and dust and everything burning off. Or the rubber. Not too shabby. How much tread did we lose? Not much at all. Oh, there's still plenty on the old power guard AT to burn off. Oh yeah, it's not the radiator, it's just the valve cover leaks and the manifolds and everything else that's smoldering. Cool as a cucumber. Thermostat's open, that upper hose is hard. Good to go. It loves burnouts. All right, folks, there you have it. We took this 1975 Chevrolet Scottsdale C20 and got it running for the first time in 9 years. I'm pretty sure this thing was parked because of the old quadrajet wannabe Holly dealio. So yeah, Amazon quadrajets, give them a whirl. I'll let you know how it goes. Hopefully we, did I almost rhyme that? Probably not. Sticker on something else, but yeah, should be a good donor pickup. There's a lot of good pieces there. Hopefully a good drivetrain to maybe put something else, or maybe one of you really wants to buy this thing and fix it up, but probably not, hopefully not. So yeah, we're gonna get back to work. Also, thanks to everybody who was watching this video and commenting, sharing, liking, subscribing, getting merch at mortske.com, all that stuff. That helps us out. That's what keeps us going, and what makes us bringing you this subpar content that we keep bringing out. So thank you very much for that. We appreciate it from the bottom of our heart. Duff, I, Mojo, Chin, and the rest of the Mortske Repair family. So we appreciate all of you. Remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done, as long as you're having fun. Square bodies, quadrajets, real fun. All right, on to the next one. Maybe it'll be a snutch rocket or a ramp truck, or not. Oh, it's puking tranny fluid onto our tranny crossmower that doubles as a shock mount. All right, get to work. You like them spinning tires? The old Scottsdale still got her.